I'm on a run in Jamaica that I thought would have beautiful oceanfront views for the entire time. If you were to look on a map, it actually looks like I'm running on the coast. But instead, this is all that I've seen. Just super high walls that are basically protecting the private property from everyone else, because 99% of oceanfront property in Jamaica has been privatized. This isn't true in every country. In a lot of the countries I've traveled to, it's actually illegal to own the beach. It has to be open to everybody. But in Jamaica, the vast majority of oceanfront land has been bought and basically taken away from the locals so that they can't enjoy it. You might be surprised because I've been walking along this street for at least 40 minutes and I haven't seen the beach once, even though I'm on the coast. And I was talking to some local kids a few nights ago walking down the road, and I asked them if they enjoyed going to the beach every day growing up in this beachside town, and they said they barely ever go because it's a 40-minute walk from their house, even though they technically live on the beach. So I just think this is interesting. It's not something that a lot of people who travel to Jamaica know about. They just go to their resort, they see the beach there, and then they take the airport, head to the airport and head out. But definitely, like, you would never know. Right here is the coastline because they put up this huge wall so that nobody can see it. I think it's unnecessary. I thought I was going to be running along the beach all morning, but instead I still haven't seen the beach once. It's crazy.
Jamaicans are facing struggles accessing their own beaches due to a colonial-era law, the Beach Control Act of 1956, which grants private landowners and foreign investors rights over the foreshore, effectively limiting public access. Here's a more detailed explanation. The Beach Control Act of 1956, enacted during British colonial rule, remains in place, granting the British Crown, and now effectively private entities, rights to the foreshore, while denying Jamaicans inherent rights to bathe, walk, or fish on beaches. As a result, less than 1% of Jamaica's coastline is accessible to the public, with many beaches becoming inaccessible due to development of coastlines by hotels, villas, and private residences. Local campaigners, including the Jamaica Beach Birthright Environmental Movement, JABM, are fighting to secure public access to natural sites and are challenging the Beach Control Act in court, arguing that it is outdated, racist, and discriminatory. The limited access has a significant impact on local livelihoods, recreation, and cultural practices, as people rely on the sea for fishing, tourism, and leisure. Some beaches, like Little Duns River in St. Ann, near the popular tourist resort Duns River Falls, have been closed to locals, raising concerns about the potential for further privatization and exclusion of Jamaicans from their own beaches. Advocacy groups like JABM are urging Jamaicans and international supporters to boycott hotels that deny access to beaches and to push for the repeal of the Beach Control Act. Ziggy Marley, son of Bob Marley, has publicly supported the campaign for beach access, calling for the decolonization of Jamaican beaches and urging people to support the fight for access. Campaigners argue that the current situation is a result of exclusionary colonial practices and that Jamaicans should have the right to access their own natural resources.
Did you know that Jamaicans don't have access to 90% of their coastline? Hotels, resorts, golf, the whole shebang, non-accessible to locals.
I saw a recent post about Ocho Rios and a few other locations on the island of Jamaica and other Caribbean islands that are being bought up. Is this true? And when outside companies or individuals are buying the land or these famous tourist destinations, they're not allowing locals to visit the location, or they're charging locals? Is this really happening? A thought comes to mind. What if all of the wealthy Caribbean artists or those who are entrepreneurs in different fields who have made a really good name for themselves, what if they purchase the land near the beaches or purchase a lot of these tourist destinations that are for sale? Is it possible they can buy it and maybe have a rule in place that people who actually live on the island can enjoy it free of charge? Is that a wild thought? Just curious, what are your thoughts about this?
I just saw a video of a community meeting in Jamaica where they were talking about access to the beach and talking about Sandals, doing this big development and taking more beach access from people. Now, this beach issue has been going on for many years, decades. These big hotels, these big developers come in, promise to give the community some jobs, win over the community that they're bringing this big development. Politicians sell it to the people in the community, and then all of a sudden the people's property suddenly belongs to tourists and the locals are locked out, and they may allow one and two people to sell their craft items. They may allow one and two people to continue their entrepreneurial activities somewhere on their property, but the vast population of the community is locked out. Most people will not have jobs there. Most people will not have access to the local facilities in the community that they once had access to. Because now everything, all the community's resources must go towards the furtherance of this development. Now, I think I've articulated my thoughts already in previous videos about how I feel about these developers, whether they're local or foreign, and whether they are of any real benefit to the local community. But what I really want to say is this. I think that we have seen this pattern far too many times for us not to know how to handle it. I think that this kind of pattern has been going on in Jamaica for as long as it has, and we are still allowing ourselves to be talked into these kind of projects by politicians and to be convinced and coerced by developers into these kind of projects that steal resources from our local communities. And the biggest grievance I have is that time and time again, when people discuss these issues, there are those of you who come onto social media to try to convince the people who are being affected and being impacted that it is for their own benefit. And I don't know if some of you are actually mentally ill, because it is mind-boggling to me that you actually believe the things that you are trying to convince people to accept. I had a professor in college who used to say this. Professor Agri Brown used to say, there is no such thing as sustainable development. Development, by its very nature, the way we treat development in the modern world, is not sustainable. We see development, I'm paraphrasing what he said, but we see development as building, tearing down nature, destroying natural resources, and creating these artificial structures, and that in itself is not sustainable. And so they cannot be out. The term sustainable development is misleading. So many of you Jamaicans have been misled. You've been misled by your politicians, and you've been misled by local corporations. You've been misled by foreign investors. You've been misled by everyone. And now you are misleading yourselves by defending the very people who are exploiting you. And I'm at the point now where I even am really not even motivated to do certain kind of content anymore, because I'm preaching the same thing over and over again to people who I want to see have their rights, but they don't really want to have rights. They are okay with being exploited and being subjugated and having their resources stolen. And I am so proud of the people who stood up in that meeting and spoke out, but a lot of you are doing the opposite and welcoming your own exploitation. Anyway, me feel cute today. If you feel like you want to support me, click the link and pick up something from my shop. Me finally get my makeup right and me like it. Me feel nice and me feel comfortable with it today, and I'm going out on the street so that people can see me how me look nice.
So it's Sunday, it's 4:59 p.m. and I want to go to the beach. However, the beach closes at 5 o'clock p.m. because the beach is owned by the government. The only way that a local can have access to the beach is if they live in an apartment complex or condominium or housing projects or neighborhood or privately owned residence that allows them to have access to the beach. However, me as a foreigner, as an expat, I am here and I am looking at prices of these units, of these houses, of these apartments, of these villas. And as an American, these prices are on the higher end. The average citizen does not make enough money to afford these units on the lowest end. Who are these beachfront properties for? And why is it specifically designed for you to keep out locals? I need answers, because I'm confused. Because I'm here traveling and the beach is closed. Closed?
Because, well, it's about answers can be
So it's not abierta. I'm confused.
Did you know that over 99% of the beautiful coastline in Jamaica is inaccessible for Jamaicans because of a British colonial law? This law still means that Jamaicans have no rights to access the white sand beaches on the island, and every year hotels are buying up more and more of these beaches for the exclusive access of tourists. I'm here in Portland, Jamaica with members of the Blue Lagoon Alliance who will be talking to you more about this issue and what you can do to help.
I learned to swim right here at the Blue Lagoon behind me. Today, I have to come here through private access. If this private access closes tomorrow, neither me or you out there will be able to come here and enjoy this Blue Lagoon.
Closure of the Blue Lagoon give me personally a devastating hit. My income it chopped right down to less than half my regular income. To the bamboo rafting and the motorboat ride, that was the main activity that was done here previously. But since the closure, no more activities.
We used to make enough money to send our children to school, pay our bills. Since the closure, our bills are up. No money to pay them off. Been borrowing money morning, noon, and night.
What is happening here is a result of the 1956 Beach Control Act. The Beach Control Act essentially says Jamaicans have no right to beaches. Jamaican, we're born here and live in this country. We should have access to our beaches.
People are suffering, people are starving, so they don't know what to do.
In Miami Bay, in other parts of Jamaica, fishermen have been displaced of livelihood. The coastlines of Jamaica be controlled by major private companies, hotels especially.
The reason why the issue continue to really be a problem is because of government complicity. The kind of tourism that the government is promoting requires disempowerment and displacement of the Jamaican people. And the Beach Control Act is a policy that gives them that power.
I'm a claimant on a court case to support beach access rights in Jamaica.
And check out the caption below to find out how you can support.
Share this video. Beach access is a human right.